Good morning and welcome to the Gen X Talk Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jab Shakur. I got my boy Mike to my right.
What's going on?
Who's here with us remotely is JB.
Yo.
Yes. Hope everybody's having a good day. Today we're going to be talking about leadership in the relationship. Who should lead? Why? All things like that. Do you even care? Does it make a difference if you're together as a boyfriend and girlfriend or relationship or marriage and all that good stuff? So we're going to discuss that. But real quick, we're going to get into this Let's Eat segment. So check this out, y'all. Everybody knows about Let's Eat. We pretty much just talk about current events or what's going on. Real quick before I start, I just want to let you all know that if anybody has anything trending or anything that's important to them currently that they want us to discuss, you can inbox us or message us on Facebook or YouTube or however you listen to us and let us know, and we will discuss things that are important to you because you matter. But what's important to me right now is Keke Palmer. Does any of y'all know about Keke Palmer? Okay, I'm going to tell you just in case. She's a model, she's an actress, she's a singer, and I'm going to say it was July 4th. I can't remember the date. I think it was July 4th. She was at a Usher concert, and Usher's got all up on her and gropped her, and I mean, it was pretty tacky to me. I don't know, maybe not. And he was actually singing the song "There Goes My Baby." His lips got all up against her, and this woman was dressed half naked. She had a see-through. The pictures all over the place, man. You all go to our page, but she had on a little see-through thing or whatever, almost looked like a bathing suit with something see-through over it or whatever. Had a little ass out, tongue looking thing. I mean, it was whatever, you know. But she has a boyfriend. His name is Darius Jackson, and I guess he was offended, and he pretty much, I guess you could say, mother shamed her would be the correct term. He tweeted, I can't remember the exact words. Let me see. She had a see-through dress on. He pretty much said, is that appropriate, for a mom? And he did it, publicly or on, social media, so everyone saw it. So it raised a lot of attention. So when we're talking about leadership today, that's also a good topic. If you all want to, that's what's going on in Let's Eat. And then also in Let's Eat, Mike, you had something going on with Idris?
Yeah, man. There's something that came up that's been trending this last week or so about Idris Elba. And he was talking about how he was excited about being considered to play James Bond until the racists came and told him that he can't be James Bond.
Right.
And I just have something to say about that, man. I'm personally not a big fan of race swapping characters like that, Yeah. Because I feel like it's lazy is what it is. Whenever you remake something and it's the same shit except you just made some character black or something like that, I think it's disrespectful to the character and the actor. Mm-hmm. Because if you really want to do something, like right now, Spider-Man, Miles Morales is killing it in the movie theaters. And you want to know why? It's because even though, he has all the powers of Spider-Man, Miles Morales is not Peter Parker. He has his own story. He has his own background. He has his own struggles. He's a different character. They didn't just say, here's Peter Parker, except he's black. And that's what a lot of these people are doing now. And I think it's crazy. Look at Creed, for example. I feel like if the first Creed came out in 2023, they would just call it Rocky 7, except Michael B. Johnson would be Rocky Balboa, instead of taking the time to create a new character to continue that story, if that's what you want to do.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I disagree totally.
Do you?
How could Rocky still be, first of all, when you're talking about Spider-Man, you're talking about make-believe shit. So anybody of any
all
race,
of it is James Bond is make believe.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if James Bond was a real person or not. But what I'm saying is Spider-Man is make believe. He's like a superhero. When you're talking about Rocky, you're speaking about, even though it's a movie, but it's about a person. There's no way Rocky at 60 something, 70 years old could still fight. So of course you can't do any more Rocky movies, or unless you're going to make another Rocky. But Rocky was more to be a real person, even though it was Rocky. And Spider-Man, and I don't know about James Bond because I'm not a James Bond fan, but I do disagree with the race swapping if it's about a true person. Now, if it's just a superhero, then I don't see what it really matters because it's make believe anyway.
Well, you're talking about identity, like identity characters, and Rocky is an identity. Like Rocky is Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Peter Parker, I agree with Jab. Peter Parker is a fictional character that can be played with anyone at any given time.
Right.
So that makes sense. But I will say this real quick, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely was voting to have Idris Elba as James Bond. I'd really like to see him play Bond. He had all the charisma that Ian Fleming, the original author of James Bond, he had all those charismatic features, but still had a layer of tough guy that made James Bond perfect. I was really hoping he'd be Bond, so I'm disappointed that didn't happen.
And me,
see, my opinion, kill off James Bond and make Idris his own new super spy.
Oh, how about this?
Well, Idris
Jerome Bond.
Now that's racist.
Jerome Bond.
Now that was racist. Now that was very, 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 very racist.
Well, I'm just saying that's what it sounds like.
Racist.
If you're going to swap it, is that what you have to do? Do you have to recreate identities, or can it be James Bond?
I say no, it shouldn't be James Bond. Just like Miles Morales is not Peter Parker. I think that if you want Idris, because let's be honest, James Bond is ass. It's played out. The character should die off.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that I agree with you and disagree with you. I agree with you that on the reason that the people probably didn't use him, I agree with you. Like if it was racist because he was black, I agree with you. But as far as if they should just make a new movie or swap it out, they can do that, but that's really about Idris Elba as an actor and a producer and himself. That's or for you.
Mm-hmm.
You could write a new movie and make it the way you want, but if the person who wants to keep James Bond alive and it's something that they own and they want to be able to, recreate it or have it in a 2023, I think they're fine too.
Yeah,
they're fine too.
I just feel like it's lazy. That's just my point of view, that you'd be better off creating a brand new character, because that's the one thing. What a lot of black people really want, we don't want just a black version of a white person. We want like our own characters.
Well, if we want our own, we would have to make our own movie. That's another issue I have with when it talks about racism. I'm one of the most pro-black people in the world, but it's like we want this, we want that, but we want somebody else to do it
for us.
We're the lazy motherfuckers. If you want somebody else to do it, then you can't. If right now let's say JB, I want him to go and I want him to clean my car or get and he's not paying him. He said, it's getting detailed. And the guy details it with a certain type of wax. Well, I don't want that wax. I want him to use this wax. He's paying for it.
At some point,
I got to use the wax. And that's the way I feel. If they don't like it, make your own movie.
Truth be told, hey, let's see Jerome Bond. Bond.
I saw something with Shaka Zulu, and they were going to have a white guy playing Shaka Zulu. I don't know how real it was. Yeah, I thought that was terrible.
It was a meme.
Yeah, but I said, how the heck you going to do that?
It was a meme.
There's
Idris
parameters.
Elba.
There's parameters. It's not just as polarized. There's a gray area here. Like certain characters can be black or white. Certain characters cannot be.
Yeah.
James Bond can be versatile. Shaka Zulu.
yeah, he's a real person.
Creed, Apollo Creed, for example, he's got to be black, in my opinion. That's where he started that. Unless he's biracial, maybe.
Yeah.
Because Apollo got in some, some white honey or something.
Yeah. And he came out looking all white. Or maybe Rocky got in the honey and Apollo thought it was his.
Rocky knows what he likes. Rocky got back.
It really was his, man. Yeah, so if y'all want to call in about that, man, The number is 817. Oh, man, it just went out of my face. I'm sorry, y'all. I was about to tell y'all the number. It's on the screen.
817-382-7012.
Y'all heard them there. Okay, so moving on. So today, we're discussing leadership in a relationship. And I'm going to tell y'all how the subject came. I was actually on another social media post. I'm not mentioning any other social medias. And there was a discussion about this, and this woman talking about men and how she'll follow a man, but he has to lead her right. And I saw that, and I saw hundreds of women like just, yeah, me too. Yeah, you got to lead me right. Well, the first thing that came to my mind is, and this is what I'm going to start off saying, and I'm going to just pass the mic for a while. If a woman says that she will follow a man if he leads her right, what she's saying is, if he leads me the way I think is right, or the way I want to be led, and if a man is leading a woman the way she wants to be led, then that means she's leading. Because it's like the dumbest thing in the world to say to me, but I want to understand where these women are coming from. So if there's any woman who believes that she'll follow a man if he leads her right, I would like to know, what exactly does that mean? Because if the man is leading you, it's not going to always seem right.
Hello?
Hey,
What
what's
the heck
up?
is that?
Caller?
Oh,
Yeah. This is Mr. Robert here. How you doing? How y'all doing?
We're doing good.
What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, brother? Mr. Jab, how you doing, man?
All right.
Yeah, you're a pretty good guy, man. You're all right with me.
All right, bro. What's going on?
But now the 007 character, that's it. That's all it is. It's an agent. So he don't actually have to be James Bond. He could come under another name, but he's still 007. It's just an agent.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
see
I
what I'm
can
saying?
dig that.
Yeah, we agree.
You could still do the movie, he's just not going to be James Bond. He's still 007, though, because that's what the movie is about. The movie is about the agent and him being a spy.
Yeah,
But
we agree.
other than that, so the name in itself is no real big thing. You just change the name.
We agree with that. Hey, did you hear what our topic is today? I know you got something to say
leadership.
in the relationship.
Yeah.
Say something before you get off. Make it fast. Say something before you get off about it.
In leadership,
In the relationship.
leadership in the relationship, of course, just me being me. Of course, I think, the man is the leader of the relationship. But it takes two to make the relationship work.
Yes,
because
sir.
everybody has a role.
That's right.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people be like, well, what you mean by roles? Well, don't get all upset. Everybody plays a role. And when you get out of those roles, that's where you start to have problems.
We'll take that.
Because everybody wants to be in control. Somebody got to relinquish some power for this thing to work.
We agree with you there.
You know what I'm saying? So, it has to work like that.
All right.
And if you know your strengths and your weaknesses, well, then you just have to be either man enough or woman enough to say, okay, this person is stronger in this area. They need to lead out in this area and allow them to lead out in that area.
All right, brother. We appreciate your call, man. That was Rob, man. He actually was a part of my original podcast, the Let's Eat Show. He was one of the original members. We did that together. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, sweet. That was a good call.
Yeah, we got these calls.
Yeah, man. I wanted to get in on that too. You know, I think. I'm not completely against what they're saying when they say that they want a man that leads them right. But what's going on? But leading them right, they have to define what leading you right is, because it's human nature, it's animal nature. I mean, packs of dogs do this. Like they will follow the lead dog as long as that lead dog is providing food and safety for everyone else.
Right.
When the lead dog does not do that, they kill him.
That's right.
And there's a new leader.
That's right.
So I understand the idea of I will be led as long as I'm led right, but you have to let us know what right is, you know? If I'm putting food on your table and keeping your lights on and giving you that bling at the end of the day, I mean, I feel like that's the right thing to do. If there's more, if there's something different that you need, then that has to be defined up front, or else, you know, you can't just, you know, say.
What about you, JB?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a real spin on this. So here's the way I see this. Number one, I personally believe that you have man and woman biologically, and with that with that design, if you will, a woman is designed to cling and adhere to a man. If a woman has to suggest to a man, you need to lead me better, I'll be led. If she has to vocalize that, then a man's not leading her correctly at all. Because leadership isn't something necessarily you demand. To me, leading a woman, number one, it's a mutual leadership in the sense that man is a dominant figure. We're always going to be the dominant force in this world, whether women like it or not. That doesn't mean there isn't dominant women out there. It just means men, as a majority, we're the dominant force. And women naturally, by design, want to cling, want to be led by a man. But it needs to be in mutual exclusivity. It needs to feel like she's safe by commitment and protection. Mm-hmm. A woman has to feel that, number one, that man is absolutely committed to her. He's not going to fool around. He's not going to cheat. He's not going to, be silly on the side. And she has to feel protected by him, that he's got her back. I don't mean just physically, but I mean in this world, that I'll provide for you, that I'll look after you and our kids. And I'm going to go be the hunter, and I'm going to hunt in this world, and I'm going to slay these dragons, and I'm going to come home, if you will, or come to our environment, even if they're both working. And I'm going to be the head of our house. I'm going to be the leader by way of design and by way of my action. And depending on the woman, you have two kinds of people. You have alpha and you have beta. If two alphas are together, so let's say you have an alpha woman and an alpha man, naturally an alpha woman wants to submit to a man. But generally she cannot, because she's so strong-willed, so in her own head. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. She's just so headstrong that she can't be with a guy that's a beta man, because what will happen is she'll end up running over him, controlling the shots, if you will, making all the decisions, and she'll lose that respect because that feeling of providing, that feeling of protection isn't there. Emotional protection, the sanctity of her mind isn't there. But if she gets with the alpha man, and I don't mean alpha by being what's the word?
Asshole?
Chauvinistic. Yeah. Asshole, chauvinistic. I mean by way of just literally trying to clean, lead her in a way where by his action, he's an alpha energy. He takes control of his life. He runs his business, or his work. He handles his affairs, and he's able to make confident decisions and give her the opportunity to make those decisions and listen, because an alpha woman has to be listened to. Beta men naturally want to submit to leadership. So when they naturally want to submit and they're with an alpha female, then in my opinion, the balance scales are offset. And it's really, eventually, by probably some historical measurement or majority measurement, an alpha woman's really going to lose respect for that guy. And eventually she's not going to want to be there anymore. She's going to leave him. Mm. Whereas if a woman is if a beta woman, and you can, there's different levels of beta, different levels of alpha. Let's call it 1 through 10 or whatever. Let's say a beta woman that's a 5. She'll easily submit to a guy. And that guy has to be somewhat more of a driven protector and offer that absolute commitment and it goes with both alpha or beta women, and same with guys. Like, if you're an alpha energy male, you want your woman to submit to you, but try to force her to submit to you by a narcissistic type behavioral pattern, by it's my way or the highway. You do what I tell you to do. Well, that's not successful. That's not leadership.
Yeah, that ain't gonna
that's
work.
controlling.
That's not
That's
gonna work.
controlling. That's restrictive.
Right.
So leadership comes from positive action, commitment, protection, and you got to, first off, I feel like you have to be in sync with your personality type. If two alpha people can make it, as long as they understand what leadership means, not
Right.
controlling.
Or
And
agree.
two betas can make it.
Right.
So that's my opinion on it. I think every woman wants to be led. Every woman wants to be led. Not every man can lead her. And that's a reality. So you have to know as a man what type of woman you could be with, because you just might be with a woman that's too strong for you, and you need to go to a beta.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you that's the bottom line. You have to know
Right.
as a man, who is it I can be with? Who is it I can lead? Because if
Mhm.
I'm not strong enough, if I'm not confident enough, then I shouldn't be with some high-powered or strong-ass woman or alpha woman. I got to find me a more Betty Crocker type and someone that I can lead.
I agree.
That's to me what leadership is.
No, that is true. I agree with that 100%. Also, a good leader, especially us as men, a good leader also looks out for the interest of everybody in the relationship. Meaning, if you're a husband, you look out for the best interest of your children, your wife. You really put everybody else's interests before yours. Oftentimes, we confuse being leaders with being dictators. I think when you were talking about forcing somebody, Jeremy, that's more equivalent to like a dictator, and that my way or the highway. And so I will say on behalf of men that oftentimes men do have that issue. We have that issue with being a dictator. Now, as far as the alpha female, I agree with that 100%, but I also think a lot of things have to do with leadership, not having leadership. What I say about not having leadership, like a father in your life or a male leader in your life. It doesn't always have to be a father. I think that carries on into relationships too, because I've noticed with a lot of women that I've encountered, even just friends or even family members, a lot of women, they appear strong, but they're really not strong. But they've always had to figure stuff out on their own. Like, even if it's out of order, like it's so out of order, but it works. Like, your mother might watch your kids more often than you, or you do this, you have to run here, you have to drive and leave your kids over here. A lot of that stuff sometimes is out of order, but it works. So when a good man does come along, and men, it happens with men too, with females, because I've seen men who look for girlfriends to take care of them and think they're supposed to just do this and that because maybe that's what they saw their mom do. I don't know. But I've also seen where the people are good leaders, but the other person, it's hard for them to let go of their independence because they've never been able to. And I think that's scary especially for women. I think that's a scary thing to do. So when we get into relationships, I think we also have to take the time to try to understand who we're with. Communication is a big part of leadership. We have to be able to discuss, with our women, and I'm saying our women because we're men to date women, but women with your men or whatever you got going on. You have to be able to have discussions and actually understand where a person's coming from, because some things that may look certain ways to you may be based on your experiences. But for this other person, like, man, why the heck did she do that? Man, that's stupid. Like, I'm guilty of that. But then when you know that person's background, then you kind of understand, like, oh, this is why they're that way. Oh, they never had this. Oh, they never were taught this. So I think we have to be very considerate, too. That's another big thing.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot that goes into leadership. And the big thing, I think something that the two of you have already pointed out, is that the way to lead is by example. Leadership is looking at the people who follow you and saying, what can I do for you, and not what can you do for me.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I think is important as men if I was to ask everybody, if you're going to be in a relationship, you want to be in a successful one, everybody would say yes. So we have to study leadership, and we have to fellowship with good leaders, because Jab said something, a fatherless type scenario in the past, and women naturally get their strength from their fathers.
That's right.
And if they don't have a father, then they're replacing that with the pseudo strength they're collecting either on their own or from the woman of their life.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, that kind of strength isn't a reality of a man's world.
Sure is not.
It doesn't fit in a man's world. So what happens is, now when you get in a relationship with a woman that doesn't really recognize or have that type of strength to model after, I'm talking about the masculine strength she would gain from her father, the man is now in competition with her. Mm-hmm. And there's a masculine competition, and in order to combat that, or in order to remedy that better, you have to study. Both people have to study, and they have to also establish boundaries. And sit down in a over coffee or something and say, you know what, I love you. I want to be in a relationship with you, or even if it's not at the love level, but hey, I'm interested in you. But let's talk about how I see leadership. Let's see how you see it, and let's set boundaries. In other words, is it okay for you to be on stage and let another guy rub up on you if I'm your man? Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And if it isn't, then you can't cross that boundary. Conversely, is it okay if I'm out with the boys one day, you're not around, and I buy some hot chick a drink just because I want to stroke my male ego? Is that okay? Even if I don't have any intention to do anything, I just want to feel my ego get stroked.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
and so. Yeah, so boundaries have to be established, in good leadership, whether it's even in a relationship between man and woman, or intimate relationship, or even if it's a business relationship. There's got to be boundaries. There has to be circuit breakers in place, because as people, nobody wants to feel shit on. Nobody wants to feel that way. And we don't. So you got to have a circuit breaker. Like for me, for example, and I'll carry it back over to you guys, but for me, if I'm in an environment and I'm with a woman and she's not there, in other words, I'm in a relationship, but I'm outside of that with the boys, and some girl comes in and wants to hang out, and she talks to me, my circuit breaker's flipped. Even if I'm interested, because instinctually she's hot, instinctually I'm a hunter, instinctually I want to make a move and stroke my ego. What I'm going to do in my mind is I'm going to ask myself first, okay, is there a circuit breaker? And I'm going to flip my circuit breaker, and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm turning it on, my circuit breaker, and it's a big red sign that says, back the fuck off.
Yeah.
And just act like she ain't there. Be cool,
Mm-hmm.
but act like she ain't there. So I think boundaries and circuit breakers are important.
Heck yeah. They're very important, man. That's a good point. I agree with him on that in a relationship. What I've always told, it was when I got married. I'm divorced, of course, but the first time when I got married, and I was about 25 years old, and I asked a guy who was like a mentor to me, and I was like, man, how do you know if you're cheating? I was like, what's cheating, man? Like, because I was a type, I would always if cheating is 10, I'm gonna try to get to 9.9. As far as I can go without doing it. I've always been that way. And he said, I'm gonna tell you what cheating is. He said, cheating is anything you wouldn't do if your mate was standing there in front of you. Anything you wouldn't want her doing. And that's what he said. He said anything that you wouldn't do if she was standing right there, and anything you would not want her to do, or anything you would not want her to let a man do to her. He said if you do any of those things, that's cheating. And I just going along with what he said, I kind of feel like that's what you have to be on. You really have to look at things from the other person's perspective and say, how would I feel if they were doing it? If a woman's dressed, I guess half naked, which my excuse from a woman was, well, you'll look at women that dress like that. And I'm like, nah, I really don't, because I don't like that. Like a woman that goes out in public and is freely with showing her body. Anybody will look at it. I look at anybody that walks by. but I don't believe that when you talk about looking at something, even having sex, like women got to realize like it's a difference if a man is looking at you for as a relationship, like taking you in the public with people or as family or, you know what I mean, having a personal relationship, watching movies with you, spending time with you, like he really loves you. It's going to make a difference in how he feels about how you dress versus, yeah, oh yeah, she got a fat ass, so I'm going to go fuck her. Then yeah, I mean, it might be true that, no, it's a difference though. Which one do you want to be? I mean, if we're being honest, I think every man in here can agree. Yeah, anybody. I mean, it's like women are going to look at everybody, but shit, you know, that doesn't mean that's a person you want to, you know, value. I'm gonna say value. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Well, I think it goes back down to commitment.
Right.
You know, because what you're saying is, and I've heard this statement just to mirror what you're saying or echo what you're saying. True character is what you do when no one else is around.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
That's true character, and that's also commitment.
You're right.
You know, if I'm really committed to someone, it's whenever that person, in my case, it'd be a female in a relationship, when that person isn't around, because the biggest plague we have as men is porn. You know, be able to lock yourself in a bathroom and get on some sort of website, Pornhub, and express any fantasy you have. It's true. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. It's just, I'm able to admit it. A lot of guys won't. Oh, I don't ever look at porn. Yeah, we do. We look at it every day. Because let's face it, women don't necessarily dress down these days. You know, I mean, they're showing their figures when they have one, and even when they don't, sometimes they show it.
Yeah.
And, you know, but what I'm saying is, it's that ultimate commitment to that person to say, you know what? Again, that circuit breaker. Man, I'm really feeling like, I'm horny right now, and I know she don't want to put out. Maybe she's feeling sick. Maybe she's got an even valid reason to not want to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and be selfish in my own desires, my own flesh. I'm going to go lock myself in the bathroom or whatever. I'm going to rub one out to, whoever it is.com. And, the reality behind that is what you do is you break down those committed barriers. It's a step closer to losing your commitment, even though it doesn't seem like it, because you think in your mind, I ain't doing nothing. I'm just taking care of myself. Or then you justify it. Well, she isn't giving me my needs. She's not serving me as a man and providing sex the way I need it. So I'm going to begin to start justifying my actions. And those, again, those walls, if we look at a wall as bricks and you start chipping away at each brick, eventually it's going to fall and crumble. So you have to stay committed, and you have to have an open line of communication to say, you know what, baby, I love you. I know you're not feeling good. Or let's say that she's not feeling good, but she has a history before she's not feeling good to not providing sexual needs. And it could be the other way around, too. It could be man or woman. I'm just using a woman in my case. Mm-hmm. You have to air that out. You have to say, look, I need a safe place to sit down and say, dear, let's sit down. Let's talk this out. Because I'm feeling the need to rub one out. I'm feeling the need to go out with the guys and maybe look what's out there. And you got to nip it in the bud, because that's commitment. And as a leader, if she feels that commitment from you, and vice versa, the guy feels that commitment from her, you're going to feel safe. And that safety and that protection in that relationship is everything. That's what keeps that glue bonded.
Yeah, I believe that. First of all, bro, I got to disagree with your one statement, because I don't watch porn. That's just something that I'm not into. I feel like I don't know. And I don't think no man is going to be satisfied with a woman if he watches porn. Even going to strip clubs, like all of that, that's just my opinion. All of those things, these people are like professional at selling sex. So it's like your woman, like looking at, kind of like social media does now. Back in the day, all your wife or girlfriend had was you. That's it. She saw you, and maybe she had a work boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? That's all she saw. She saw you, and she saw that motherfucker at work that she liked. And that's all she had to choose from. Now you look on social media, man, you got motherfuckers with arms bigger than mine, waistline smaller than hers, big chest, So I feel like anybody who gets into social media, which includes internet porn and all that, I just believe that stuff will mess you up for a relationship. I'm not going to say not to do it, Because women definitely have toys. I don't believe that shit. So that you're definitely not doing them wrong because they're probably doing it 5 times a day or something. I don't know. But I just believe that when you have all of those other type of things, I think what it does to your psyche, you won't be satisfied with like just your woman. It's no way.
You know,
I don't believe you. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't watch that kind of stuff. I think when I was a little boy, I may have if I got my hands on something, but it's that'll mess y'all up. That's my opinion. That's the devil.
Well,
that's the devil.
Much like the two of you, I do not watch Pornhub either. I actually prefer X Hamster. It's way better porn.
Yeah, I don't.
But I think that if porn is that big of a deterrent in your relationship, then maybe the sex is being held a little bit too high. There's so much more to a relationship than just sex.
I agree.
I mean, and I think it ultimately comes down to the boundaries and your commitment. I mean, I would say in a relationship, I know people who watch porn together. I know people who bring other people into the bedroom. I know people who go to the strip clubs together. I think that it really comes down to what that couple, that man and woman, are comfortable with.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
I agree.
You know, you can have a healthy relationship with all of those things. I mean, everyone has different boundaries.
You can have a healthy relationship with all of those things, but not just one. You can't just watch porn and think you're going to be not a man watches by himself. It's going to make him want some more stuff, man. I mean, unless his woman does all that, unless she does all that and looks like that.
No one does all the things.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but like it's going to work for those couples that are watching together and going to strip clubs and threesomes and all. Yeah, it's going to work for them. But it's not going to work for that woman that don't want you talking to nobody else and you don't want her talking to nobody else. And then you see this.
Know, there's one thing I'd like to put out there.
That's my opinion.
And I agree with everything you guys just said. I think boundaries are boundaries. You can agree on anything you want. However, I've noticed in my experience, in my study actually, women need emotional love. They need to feel emotionally connected to their guy to get turned on. Men, we want to feel desired, but we also are carnal. You know, it's very visual. It's very, you know, that's why we can be mad. And I'm not saying this is for everyone, but by and large, we can be mad and still want to have sex. A woman hates you. She's not having sex. She's feeling taken advantage of. Even if she puts out, she's feeling, I don't want to use the word rape, but she's feeling forced is a better word. She's feeling dirty. She's feeling like she's given something against her will. And I think it goes down to understanding. It goes down to understanding the opposite sex and understanding that as men, if I'm a man and I'm focused on what my woman needs and wants and understand women, and a woman thinks about her man and what a man needs, and you can put that in the forefront of your mind, I think that shows good leadership in a marriage or in a relationship, that you guys are willing to, you know, submit to one another's needs and put each other's thoughts first, which I think would result in a successful marriage. And the last thing I'll say, Eleanor Roosevelt put it the best. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "A woman is tempted to leave or cheat when she has nothing, when she feels like her man can't give her nothing or be anything. A man is tempted to cheat when he has everything." And I think that underlinement there kind of makes you realize, okay, if that's the case, how can you be with that woman that's with you when you lose it all? And how can she be with you when you have everything or have nothing, so to speak? It's kind of a vice versa, if you will.
Right.
I think
that's a good statement. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that women who withhold sex from their man, usually that's a sign that they're not getting good sex. Because if you can tell a guy no, then there's a good chance that you're getting something better. You gotta.
Or it could just be that she's not happy, and that's her only way she feels that she can control you.
That's it.
It's the power move.
I think what Eleanor Roosevelt, I think what he said makes a lot of sense, but I also think that in this day and time, with the way roles have switched so much, I think it's really different, and I think that's what's coming up. Like, you got to think, us at our age, we were more meant to like be married and already probably been with our wives 20 something, 30 years or whatever at this age. And I think when you're out and you're dating or just, boyfriend, girlfriend, I think you're more seeing a new age woman than the woman of those times. Same thing with the men. Like things that, like I said, just like social media, a lot of like, when you say leadership, like I meet women and say, well, my grandfather, he paid all the bills. He did this. Well, Big Mama, before Grandpa was like her only man. You know what I mean? He was like the only people she had children by. Now you have situations where women go into relationships with children from another relationship or just from nothing. Or men have women, kids over here. Like a lot of things now are so different. Not saying that those things didn't happen back then ever, but it's like the way now. So like a man back then could probably just work and take care of, his family, and the woman could take care of the house. They had 2 or 3 kids. But now it's not with just a regular job. It's not set up to do that. So I think a lot of these things that people said back then, I think if we could get back to that, I think those things are true and I think they would work. But I think there's so many variables and there's so much extra stuff that's out here now. It's pretty much just what you said earlier, JB. It's what you all discuss in you all's relationship and what you all decide and then what you all follow. But sometimes we like a person a lot, and a lot of us agree to things that we know good and well we can't do. And I think we've all done that. Like we say, this woman has 6 things you really like, but she has 2 things that you cannot deal with. And you know good and well this is not going to work, but you like her so much you try. And then she may say, oh, I won't do that. But she's not going to stop doing it. If she's doing it at 45 years old, she's not going to stop doing it. She's been doing this forever. And so I think those are where we get kind of messed up. And I don't know if that's still about leadership, but sometimes when we meet people, everybody shows their good, what is it called? Your poker face or your good side. You know what I mean? When you meet somebody, it's like applying for a job. You're not going to tell the other company that you stole something from your last job. Your resume is going to say all this great stuff. With us, being that we're all men and we're all heterosexual men, our viewpoint is all the leadership, of the man. I'm going to say that another big part of leadership is providing for the other person's needs. And that's where I think we should discuss, because when we talk about provision or providing for people's needs, it's going to be different from everyone, depending on who you're with. And I know that I can only go from my experience with most women, they consider the value of a man like pretty much paying bills and dick. Like, that's just true. It's what now I'm not saying in a marriage that's going to work forever, but that's what the value of a man is. Well, when it comes to a relationship, you have to provide for that woman's needs. Even your, the traditional wedding vows say provide for her needs. Well, a woman that doesn't have a lot of money, or a woman that's poor, or a woman that just don't want to pay bills, she'll say, oh, that's what he's supposed to do. But like Oprah Winfrey doesn't say that. Oprah Winfrey takes care of her man.
Yeah.
Like financially, he's on her payroll. That little Stedman dude, he's been on her payroll for years. I don't know how much she's paying him now, but back in like the 80s, it was like $80,000 a year. It was a lot of money. He gets just for
throwing a D around,
I guess, or whatever. Maybe he travels with her. Maybe her needs, or she needs somebody to go check on her rental properties or her investments, or fly to Africa with her. I don't know, But I think we have to look into that mindset too when we talk about leadership. And I wish we could get someone like a female to call in. That would be real good. If we could get a female to give a female perspective, 817-382-7012, because I know from the comments that I saw on this post that there is a woman that has a lot to say. But I just think that it's really different depending on the person. And I think that when JB was on before he got off, he said something very important when he said that talked about discussions. Like we had to have discussions, and with those discussions, actually sit down and talk about, leadership roles, what people expect, and and like I said, and we talked more about relationships, like boyfriend, girlfriend, I guess. But I mean, it can happen in friendships, business relationships, leadership. A good leader, like I said, he's a person, or she's a person, or it's a person, or whatever the correct terminology is these days. It's a person that's gonna look out for everybody in the business.
Right.
Are you going to provide and make sure everybody's eating? Are you going to make sure everybody's living good? Are you going to be, sometimes business don't work that way. Sometimes business, one person got to come up off of another person, so those type of things are, something that I guess, I don't know, maybe we'll have to talk on another day. I don't know, man. Maybe we could wrap this one up and continue this another day. It's a real broad topic,
Yeah, I mean, we can go a lot of different places with it. I mean, there are a lot of things that we've talked about, and leadership in a relationship is sometimes it's more than just, the relationship with your wife and kids. I know that my own father was a true patriarch. He wasn't just the leadership of our family, he was the leader of the family. Mm-hmm. Like aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone went to him, for his guidance and his wisdom.
Like my dad.
And I think that nowadays that's something that's not really taught, because we've had multiple generations now where that's been kind of absent, or generations where they saw one thing and perceived that to be leadership, but it wasn't. Yeah. Like what we've said before, it's not about control. It's not about power. It's about being an example. Mm-hmm. Because you don't have to really have power and control to be a leader.
Yeah.
All you have to do is do the right thing and people will want to follow you.
Mm-hmm.
Do the right thing and show results and people will want to follow you.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, caller? Hello?
You got a caller on?
Hello?
Yes. How are you?
Hi. And there she went.
They'll call us back, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But I think that I know one thing with my dad that I didn't like it when I was a kid, but my dad, like I'd see him do a lot of stuff for a lot of people. I have cousins, he would change their brakes, and is that it?
Yep. Hello?
Caller, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, this is Missy. I was just calling about the relationship stuff. Give me a comment.
Okay, that's great. What's going on?
Well, I agree with a lot of what he said. My viewpoint as a woman is that when you say, ask us how we like to be led, I commented by heart, not by fist. You can't have a dictatorship in a relationship. That's not a partnership, which is what it should be. Mm-hmm. Now, I would agree with traditional roles, even though I'm an alpha, which is kind of weird. I want a man who's strong and who's going to lead me, but also listens to my viewpoint, especially if I'm working too. If we're both bringing in money, we both need to talk about how the money's spent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you now.
No, we were just saying we agree with you.
So, and, that's the financial part of it. The sexual part of it, I mean, it's a building point. It's the most intimate thing you can do with another person. So if you're in a committed relationship, it should be just that, committed to that. There shouldn't ever be a question. You shouldn't question, is that cheating? Because if you're questioning it, most likely it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my viewpoint.
Okay, we appreciate your call. Hey, I just want to make a point real fast. Have you all noticed that I told you all that, and y'all don't get upset with me, but I said it, all the women care about from us being is dick and money. And if you notice, we thought you were gone. If you notice, no, it's nothing against you. If you notice, All the comments. I'm talking about ours, everything. It's about money and it's about sex. That is what leads these days. Hey.
Well, those are those two.
Yeah. So what?
Well, we didn't mean to do it like that.
Well, it don't matter. Yeah. Well,
but thank you for the call, Misty.
Yeah. Thank you for the call, Misty. So when we, I was just making a point that everything that's being discussed, I want anybody else to call too, but it's gonna be about something to do with the money or sex or cheating. That's what relationships have become based on, and leadership roles. That's what it's about, man. And I don't want to say I'm right. I don't want to say everybody's like that, but I guarantee you, out of a handful of people, that's what people are gonna comment about. The majority. It's gonna always be. Did you see her? She said, "If I'm working, I feel like I should have a say so too. But that's not true. You should have a say so regardless."
Whether you're working or
not. Yeah, but everyone associates the power and the leadership with the money and the sex. That's my opinion, and it shows even when people say, "No, that's not it. That's not it." But if you just look at our natural aura, go buy a woman something real nice and watch how she treats you for a day or so.
Yeah,
she'll talk shit to you tonight. Go do something nice. Do just anything, and watch how good she treats you, and then let that fade on out about a week or two maybe, and just I don't know. I might be wrong. Test it and see.
I don't think you are wrong. I think I've seen this with my own two eyes.
Is that a different caller?
No. That was the sign off. So
yeah, it's that time.
Yeah. Hey guys. If you want to hear more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends.
Please share it and say, you all, if you're listening right now, let me just say, I'm sorry. Go right now on our YouTube page because you got to be able to see it and actually subscribe to the page because we see people watching and viewing and you're not subscribing. Please subscribe. Then you'll know when you won't have to ask me, hey, when are y'all on? It'll pop up. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, join the Facebook page. Follow it, Instagram, all of that stuff. Do that right now while you're listening and get it over with, and then it'll just come up here and there. That'll make stuff simple for us and you all. Boom.
And you can hear us on all of your favorite podcast platforms, but particularly if you're listening to us on Apple, don't forget to rate it and give us 5 stars if you like what we're doing. And you know what? You can give us less if you don't like what we're doing. You know what? We're not even going to get mad at you, but give us 5 stars.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Or I'll come to your house and kill you.
No. All right, we're signing up.
All right, guys.